Hey, you're listening to Bookmark My Words. I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Sarah.
As always, please like, share, subscribe, follow. Tell us what you're dressing up for Halloween as. We want to know.
Yeah.
We might dress up for our Halloween episode. I just decided that.
Yeah, she didn't
I
include me,
didn't
but I'm
include.
excited.
I just literally just went,
She threw that out there.
hey, we'll dress up for our Halloween episode. Maybe. But how was your week?
It was good. Lots of soccer.
Yeah.
You you know, lots of soccer. I got a sunburn, which did not make me very happy. It's soaked in today, though. I don't look. Last night when I went to bed, my face hurt,
Yeah.
like really badly, and it just made me angry. Getting sunburns in October just makes me mad because we're supposed to be fall loving. Like sun, you're supposed to peek away.
Like you're not done. Just.
Like, yeah, don't go away. I like the sun. It helps me. It's good for things. But like, kind of hide behind some clouds or something. Bring our spooky vibes in.
Like, are you Gilmore Girl? La 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 la. Fall. Or are you Twilight? Ho ho ho.
I like
Fall.
an even balance.
I'm 100% a hoa hoa girl.
Like, it took me forever to figure out what hoa hoa was. And then finally I said it out loud and I was like, oh,
Not a
like I get
la
it.
la la la.
But no, like I like a balance. Because if I have too much of the hoa hoa, then I really do go into like a depression and nothing happens. But
I thrive in cloudy weather.
I don't.
The witchy side of me is like, thrive.
Because when it's cloudy and stuff, all I want to do is sit and like read, and then nothing gets done in my house.
Oh, no, because I don't thrive in sunny weather, whether inside or outside. Too much of a hermit.
Yeah.
I don't do
I
it.
mean,
That's why I'm so pale.
nothing else was really notable. I got a sunburn this week.
I'm sick, so I don't sound fantastic, so if I sound weird, that's what it is. I got like a weird head cold. I don't feel awful. I don't feel great. We're just fine.
Just
Just
right in
fine.
that in between line.
Yeah. I'm excited for fall break.
Yes. You need fall break.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna take the boys one day to go to McKay's,
They would love that. They've not been in forever.
and I'll let them each pick out a book, and Stephanie's gotta let them pick out a book. It just happens. And I might take them to the library because they gotta go get their textbooks because they can't read normal stuff. They like their textbooks.
They do. I did pick out normal, like, not normal, but like fictional books this
Yeah.
last time. One, he's very in dystopia stuff right now. Like,
Ooh.
one was, I think it was called The Last Eight,
Oh, okay.
and I can't remember his other one.
So he's following in his Aunt Stephanie's
Yes,
footsteps.
and he borrowed a book from school, and it was something about raining fire. Like the fire like ate your skin or something.
Okay. I think I've heard of that.
And it's got a second book's H2O, I think.
Yeah.
He's got that one at home right now. So he's very into that's what he's vibing with right now.
Has he never read Artemis Fowl?
I don't know.
I think he would like it. Like I had a friend that was obsessed with it. She was like, "Listen, Harry Potter's fine. Have you read Artemis Fowl?" She's like, "It's got a secret language," and I decoded it. And I was like, "Did you really?"
Oh my lord, I love that.
She went, "Yeah." She's like, "I decoded it, and so I know what it's saying in the books whenever they talk in their ancient language." There's like a whole following. So yeah, he might enjoy those because it's kind of along the lines of like unfortunate events, which we know he's a
Oh,
huge fan
yes, he
of.
does love those. He's read all the Hunger Games.
Yeah,
And the one about the songbird,
yeah. So that's Hunger Games.
but not the sun
Not reaping.
reaping. He's not read that one yet.
So he's not read Haymages, which it just
I think
came
that's
out.
the only one that he's not read.
It's pretty popular.
That's the one he went to buy, and it was like $25 at the book fair, and the librarian was like,
Mm-mm.
good choice.
I am like waiting for that in our library on Libby. I think I'm like number 268, and there's only 3 editions. So
Wow.
They said several months. Like that's what it put out next to it. It tells you like a
I've
guesstimate.
still not got on Libby.
It's pretty
Need
cool.
to.
But like it tells you like what position you're in, how many editions are out there they're allowed to have at a time, which they only have 3. So I guess it's the license stuff. They have to have license how many. And then it tells you approximately how many, and mine still says months. Because they get 14 days.
Yeah, and then you're number 200 and
200 and
something.
something.
Yeah, that's a lot. That adds up.
So, yeah.
That adds up. Also, I think that's the reason why I've not done Libby because
You do have to
it's
wait.
it's well, not even that. It's daunting to think that I get this book and I have 14 days.
It
Like
goes
that
quick.
freaks me out.
But it also tells you percentages.
Okay.
Like how much percent you're done.
Okay, like my Kindle.
Yeah. Not necessarily the chapter. It tells you how many minutes the chapters are,
Okay.
but it doesn't tell you. It'll be like, oh, you've listened to 45% of this book. And you're like, oh, okay, cool.
Okay.
So, if that makes you feel a little better. It has made me read other books, including this one today, because I literally just was like, I think I typed in true crime, and this is one of the first ones that popped in. Definitely. Content warning of murder, death, kidnapping, rape, murder of a child, murder of an adult.
Heavy hitter.
It's a heavy hitter. It's a true crime. It is truly, it's real. I'm not going to go into detail for any of yous that are like, "Ooh, I don't want to hear that." It won't be discussed on here because I also don't like listening. Once you
Yeah.
involve children, it kind of mm,
Does
it
it the book go into it though?
it doesn't go into it because it's
It's
based
like a surface.
on, yeah, it's based on the point of view of the detective or the FBI agent that worked the case. And I'm going to give you just like a tidbit of like him because he's pretty important dude. I didn't realize until I started researching him. I knew he was FBI and I knew that he helped a lot with the teaching of the FBI in profiling, but I didn't realize how much he did. But the guy's name is John E. Douglas, and he's a former FBI agent and founder of the Behavioral Analyst Unit, or the BAU. He pioneered criminal profiling using psychological and behavioral patterns to identify offenders. He worked for major cases such as Atlanta's child murderers and the River Killer. He interviewed Ed Kemper, Charles Manson, Dennis Rader, or BTK, Ted Bundy, John Wayne Gacy, David Berkowitz, or Son of Sam, James Earl Ray, Donald Harvey, or Angel of Death, and Jerome Brudos, or the Shoe Fetish Slayer, and many, many more. He and his team from the BAU took all of these interviews and created like a baseline behavioral pattern that generally most killers or serial killers or abductors follow. Strangely, it's kind of weird. Things such as like they normally go after the same victim. They stay within their own race. They pick people who others aren't going to miss.
Yeah.
They keep trophies.
That is so wild
That
to
is
me.
so wild.
Like
They
they
all keep
all
trophies.
do. They
Or
all
they
do.
revisit the burial site or the murder site.
Mm.
That's nuts to me. I'm sorry. Profiling methods are still used today by the FBI and taught within Quantico, and they're even taught to local detectives and stuff. So, I mean, it's like a major thing. He's still alive, by the way.
That's pretty cool to be that person to.
He has a doctorate in education, and that's what he went and did,
Oh.
was the FBI. Because he retired from the Air Force in the 1970, and then by 77, he was working for the FBI for like,
He must be pretty old.
yeah, but he's still alive.
Wow.
Well, he was the youngest ever in the FBI at that time.
Okay.
He was 23. When he retired in 1995 from the FBI, he became an author, a speaker, and a consultant for other authors, script writers, and still real life cases. He still helps with real life cases. He co-wrote a book that was called Mind Hunters, which talked about how all of this kind of came to be. And that is what the Netflix series Mindhunters is inspired by. Now, it's not a word for word type deal. They asked him to approve of the show and he did. And so he thought for like TV wise it'd be dramatic and would keep ratings.
Right.
The only reason why they still don't have a new season is not I think they finally canceled it just because it had been so many years. The actors' schedules could never match up
Oh.
again. It had nothing to do with ratings. It had nothing to do with the writing. They had season 3 already written out.
Oh.
And I think it was the lead guy. He went to Broadway.
Oh.
And I mean, that's a bigger
That
deal
takes
for an
up a
actor.
lot of
So,
time,
and
yeah.
that, he's the guy that's always singing, "You'll be back."
Oh!
That dude. And he was also on Glee. So, I mean, he's a singer, actor type guy. So, when he had this opportunity to go to
Yeah,
Broadway,
that's huge.
that's a pretty big deal for an actor. But he said, anytime, I will go back. He said, I really enjoyed doing that show. He was like, I felt like it was a meaningful show
Yeah.
to see, because he also went into John's severe PTSD and how that kind of started, because he suffers from severe PTSD to this day because of the big cases he worked with.
Yeah.
And also the other side of the killers. Like John kind of became acquaintances with Ed Kemper.
Right.
And this is where I told you when I was researching it, I kind of fell down a rabbit hole. So Ed Kemper was very unique because he had an extremely high IQ for a serial killer. His IQ was 145.
Okay.
The average person's like 80 to
Yeah.
like one, I think
I
it's like
don't know, but it's
115, something like that.
yeah, he's elevated for
So
sure.
he's gifted, and his demeanor is like gentle giant because the dude's like 6'5",
But he's a killer.
but he's a killer, and that's what he's like. He's just so chillax about all of it. They said he never got angry, and they said he will sit and talk for hours. And actually, one of his jobs he had in prison, get this, was recording audiobooks. For every page he recorded, he got like 10 cents. So some of your older audiobooks that you're listening to, that could be the voice of Ed Kemper.
Do they give him credit? Like, would you know? That's crazy.
So like sometimes when you're listening to an audiobook and you don't know who it is, it might be Ed Kemper. Just so you know, it might freak me out. What a fun fact. Nuts.
That's crazy.
Was one of the first ones that the BAU got to use their profiling, and it worked. The killer was caught. Sadly, 2 lives perished, but killer was caught. So the book is called When a Killer Calls, a haunting story of murder, criminal profiling, and justice in a small town by John Douglas and Mark Olshaker. Synopsis is, on May 3rd, 1985, 2 days before her high school graduation, Sherry Smith was abducted from her driveway of her home in South Carolina. Based on the crime scene and the abductor's repeat and taunting calls to the family, law enforcement quickly realized they were dealing with a sophisticated and highly dangerous criminal. A letter arrived the next day entitled Last Will and Testament, in which Sherry, knowing that she was going to be murdered, wrote bravely and achingly of her love to her parents, siblings, and her boyfriend, saying that while they would miss her, she would know that they would be preserved through their faith. The abduction rocked her quiet town, triggering a mass manhunt and bringing in the FBI, which enlisted profiler John Douglas. A few days later, a call told the family where they could find Sherry's body. Then 9-year-old Deborah May Himlick was kidnapped from her front yard, confirming the harsh realization that the Smiths family murderer was no random act. A serial killer was evolving, and the only way to stop him would be to use the study of criminal behavior to anticipate his next move before he could kill again. Douglas devised a risky and emotional strategy to use Sherry's look-alike older sister Dawn as bait to draw out the unknown subject. Dawn and her parents courageously agreed. One of the most haunting investigations of Douglas's storied career, the case detailed how the eerily accurate profile he created along his carefully crafted and staged managed manipulation of the killer's psychological and combined with the dedicated police work and cutting-edge forensic science to the end of the reign of a criminal terror. As Sherry's family took incredible personal risk to lure her killer from the shadows, Douglas and the FBI pushed criminal profiling to its limit. So, as I said, content warning.
Yes.
It's a little dark. The 9-year-old really got me. Like, once they involved the 9-year-old, I was like, oh, I'm out. But I kept reading because I was like, okay, I gotta know if this mother trucker got the end or not. So Sherry was 17 years old. 2 days from her graduation, she was preparing for a cruise to the Bahama with her senior class. You're in that fun senior year. She goes out with her boyfriend and a friend. They have a great day at the mall. They go out and do stuff. I can't remember what exactly. I want to say they went to the movies, but I'm not 100% sure. I know they went to a drugstore, so it's 80s, so, think of like the drugstores, how they did.
Yeah.
They still kind
I
of
mean,
did
it still was a little, yeah.
they did like smoothies and stuff like that. All
Yeah.
that stuff then. I don't know, before my time. But they're in South Carolina. She drops her friend off, drops her boyfriend off. She's driving. She goes home, and from what they describe, her driveway is really long, and you can't quite see it from the house. So it's like, imagine like one of those driveways that, like, if you look out, like, you could see the mailbox, but
Yeah.
like you don't know what's going on out there. And she got out to check the mail, and then somebody kind of just more or less drove by and just picked her up.
Oh, Lord.
Car was running, car door open. Her father looks out the window, sees the car there. Her mother's at work. Her older sister is in college, and her younger brother was, I think, returning from school. So she was middle child. They worry about Sherry. Sherry has a rare form of diabetes,
Oh, no.
which required not only medicine, but because of the diabetes, she has to stay constantly hydrated.
Mm.
So they keep a close eye on her, even though she's 17 years old, just parents worrying. And dad goes out there, he sees the cars running, her purse and stuff are on the ground, mailbox hadn't been touched, she's nowhere in sight.
Oh.
So he calls his wife and was like, honey, I don't know how to tell you this, but I just found Sherry's car at the end of the driveway, still running, door open, and Sherry's not there. Which would be just a terrifying sentence to hear or have to say. And immediately they call the police and friends and family, and they begin looking because they're like, she has to get home
Yeah.
to take her medicine. And then on top of that, also, what happened? Where'd she go? So police, of course, start looking. Of course, they do the usual suspects. People in high school. Who'd she know? Who was her enemy?
Right.
The boyfriend.
Always the boyfriend.
Thankfully, the boyfriend was just as distraught as the rest of the family. He's very worried. They immediately could tell that this boy really loves Sherry, and they probably would have ended up married. If none of this had happened. They call the sister Dawn home. They're like, hey, you need to come be with the family.
Ugh.
Something's happened to your sister. Then the phone calls start. The first phone call was kind of weird. Their mother, Hilda, answered, and it was very odd. It was a man's voice, but it was disguised, sound tricky. She couldn't quite tell what he was saying, but she knew he was talking about Sherry.
Yeah.
He hung up before they could even trace the call. Police was like, okay, someone's wanting ransom, so we need to tap your phones. And next time when he gets on the phone, talk to him as long as possible. Because you gotta think, this is 80s, so like
Yeah,
it's
technology's not as...
It's not as quick as what, there's no pinging off of towers. They had to like break open the phone, put the chip in, put it back together. Ported phone to the wall.
Yeah.
So they can't even like take it with them everywhere. So somebody has to stay at the house at all times. Yeah, it's a small town. For what I describe, it's kind of like where we live.
Okay.
Everybody kind of knows everybody
in some roundabout way.
And they're like, there's no way this is someone from our town, which is true. It wasn't. It wasn't someone from their town, which also throws off police because they were like, we've never had anything like this. Phone calls keep going. Now, the older sister, Dawn, who is not only Sherry's look alike, she also sounds a lot like Sherry. She starts picking up the phone call because their mother is starting to become
Yeah.
a little unraveled, and Dad almost can't answer the phone because anytime he answers, either him or their little brother answers, the killer hangs up like immediately.
Oh.
So they're like, okay, so a female has to answer. He's intimidated by men
Okay.
of any age, I guess. So they're like, only Dawn or Hilda can pick up the phone, which would be awful. Because here again, 80s, there's no way to caller ID.
Right. You never know.
So you never know who's.
So that means every time it rings,
You've got to pick up that phone.
you know what your heart would do every time a phone rang?
Yes.
Like forever.
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 I would never have to be like have that sound of an old time telephone.
Yeah, because there's like, now we've got personalized ringtones and
Yeah.
stuff. When it was really like now I have my phone on silent all the time. But when it was really cool to have your phone on loud, when something bad had happened, I'd never be able to use that ringtone again. Like it would take me back there
Yeah.
every time.
Yeah.
Every time.
Every
So
time.
like I couldn't imagine to something that magnitude.
Yeah, like if I went missing and you
Yeah.
had to answer the phone
Like
every time.
you talk about getting messed up.
First of all, this triggers me anyway. Not to make fun of it. Answering a phone terrifies
Oh,
me.
yeah, she has phone phobia.
I have phone phobia. I have no idea why.
You
Like
better
even
answer the phone if I ever go missing.
I will answer the phone. I will start to answer the phone. I'll be aggressively answer the hello.
Well, no, then they'd hang up. They'd think you were a man.
Well, that's true.
Don't do it so deep.
Hello.
There you go.
There you go. Sound like Granny.
Hello. Who is this?
But sorry.
But yeah, the trauma would be real on that.
The trauma would be very real. And also dealing with like you're trying to stay calm emotionally, even though you know,
Trying to keep him on the phone.
trying to keep him on the phone, keep him talking. And they're like, we don't even care what you talk about.
Right.
We just need to be able to link it. So they started getting links. Sadly, though, it was always to a payphone.
Ah,
And also,
stupid payphones.
where are the cameras? Well,
They didn't have a lot back then.
cameras
did they?
are kind of limited on the outside of places at this time. They said they could
Yeah.
get some inside maybe, but they said you wouldn't. They were like, you'd be surprised at how many payphones were on the side of buildings and not on the
Oh.
front. So, like, if you had a camera,
It's gonna be pointed to the entrance.
it's going to be pointed towards the entrance, but the phone would be on the side with no windows. Like, think about all the gas
Ah.
stations and stuff.
That's true. Like,
They used to be on the sides.
because, yeah, I mean, I was born in the 90s, so those early 90s still had the payphone wasn't totally extinct yet,
yeah.
and they were over kind of like by your bathrooms.
Yeah, they
A
weren't.
lot of in the old days, they used to be on the outside, on the sides of like
Yeah.
gas stations. I didn't think about that.
So they were like, if there was like one camera they found, but I think there was two places they found camera, but one was broken and the other one, like I said, it wasn't pointed in that direction. So they were like, we don't know who used it last. And of course, it's at weird hours. It's not at night. It's just kind of at weird hours where they don't have a lot of people to be like, hey, did you see anybody on this phone?
Right.
Like, and if it was a gas station
Well, and you
or
pay
whatever,
by cash back then too.
yeah,
Like you don't swipe a card in the payphone. There
No.
were no cards.
you put quarters in.
There was change.
And then if you hit it a certain way, it spit the quarters back out.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, there was some way you could. I think if you. Is that like if you kept it really short and then
Yeah.
hung up, it would give you your money back?
Yeah. Or
There
if
was. It was like a hack.
it was
like a.
it was pre-hack of hack.
It was hacking before there was hacking.
So remember the phones. And he was using a device to disguise his voice.
Which I feel like was very elevated for back
Very, yeah,
then. Okay.
remember that.
Okay.
So this went over the course of like 3 weeks.
Oh.
Sadly.
Oh.
Within that time, they received a letter. And it was titled The Last Will and Testament of Sharon Faye Smith, which was her full name. And it was handwritten by Sherry. A good portion of it was, they were a very, very faith-based family. And a good portion of it was pretty much a bunch of I love yous. Don't let this ruin your faith.
So she literally, like, she got to write what she
She
wanted.
got to write what she wanted. It was,
Oh,
they were like, this is 100% her handwriting. Like, her mother was like, I know my daughter's
yeah.
handwriting. This is it. Which I feel like just makes it just all more cruel.
I know.
Like, you would want to keep those letters, but at the same time, I'd be like, she knew what was coming to her. And she mentioned that. She was like, I know I most likely won't make this out alive. She was like, do my funeral, closed casket.
Oh,
Um, like she knew. She knew everything that was about to happen to her.
how did she stay alive for 3 weeks with no medicine? Okay.
So she was like, I know what's about to happen to me. Her boyfriend, she mentioned him. She was like, I want you to move on. Like,
Yeah.
don't be stuck on me. Have a great life. Find an amazing wife. Have many children. She told her siblings, she was like, I love you both so much. I want you to go on and do great things. She told her family, she was
Made me
like,
cry.
please do not let this separate you from our faith. And she mentioned that many, many times. And then it was like, kind of just ended with a, I love you all. I'll see you in the end.
Oh,
Which is so
it's gonna
hard.
make me cry.
It was so hard to like hear. I mean, and then you're still getting phone calls from this psychopath. And that's why they said it was such a weird case because he didn't want anything. He just wanted to torture
He
people.
was just
He
torturing.
was just
Yeah.
mentally torturing people, which was nuts. And Dawn eventually got him talking long enough that he mentioned where he might have put the body. And the police went out and searched and found her body. And they said she had died most likely only like 3 days after being abducted.
So he just toyed with them that whole
So he
time.
just toyed with him the whole time and then kept the letter long enough
Oh,
and then sent it to him. And Don was, he talked about it, John talked about it all the time. He was like, such a trooper. He said, never let the killer know that she was upset. He said, kept a mild voice the whole time. He said, didn't get super emotional, but also kind of kept empathy in her voice to keep him talking.
mm-hmm.
Like it was safe to talk to her. And he said he almost wonders if he like imagined that being Sherry.
Right.
So like
Since they sounded alike on top of it.
so that's what, and even got to the point where he'd be like, I want to talk to Dawn.
Wow.
So 2 weeks after finding Sherry's body, 9-year-old Deborah May Himlick was playing in her front yard. I'm not going to go into deep detail of that one. That one's a little less detailed
Yeah.
because he didn't like torture the family. But she was playing in the front yard. I can't remember if it was with a sibling or if it was with a friend, but they lived in like a trailer park. So, you know, houses are kind of close
Yeah.
together. And a neighbor was sitting and like facing their yard inside of his trailer. And her father had just gotten home, but he was in the shower. And you know, this is 80s, so like, go play in the yard. I'm gonna go take a shower. I just got home.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the neighbor, we're close knit little
Yeah.
community. Nothing's gonna happen to you. And then they said that the killer drove by, picked her up, and she was yelling and screaming for help. The other little girl started yelling and screaming. And the neighbor actually got up and ran out the house because he was like, well, that's not normal.
Right.
And he was able to see his face. They were able to get a sketch. And at this time, the two cases, same county, different because he never called the Hemlocks. He never sent a letter. He never tortured them.
So he just stole her.
He just like stole her. So they had no idea that these two cases were related until he was on the phone with Dawn. And Dawn was talking to him because they were like, listen, I'm so sorry. You're just going to have to keep talking. And she was like, I will do whatever. Like, she took the whole semester off from school. She was like, I want to find out who did this. She's like, I'm not going back to
Yeah.
school.
She wouldn't be able to focus on school anyways.
So she's like, I'm going to help you guys catch this dude. If you say you can catch him, we're going to help. And he got to talking about, you know, that 9-year-old Deborah that went missing? And she was like, I read about it. And he was like, yeah. And then she was kind of figured out, like, oh, either he
did it.
knows something or he's obsessed with this. So they got to thinking, okay, what if these two cases are related? That's when they called in the FBI because they were like, hey, The guy at the time, police didn't reach out to the FBI. They were kind of separate at that time. They were, I wouldn't say like against each other.
Yeah.
The police at that time were very prideful.
I was gonna say they still kind of get a little
Yeah,
like
almost like
butt
a,
hurt when they step in and take over.
this is my jurisdiction.
But I mean, you see that in like all the cop shows. They're like, "Oh, here comes the feds."
And they were just like, luckily, he had worked with the FBI before. And so the chief of police reached out and said, hey, I need your help. This is more than we have ever dealt with. And we need someone who can think just like this killer.
Yeah.
So they were still a really small unit. They said they had maybe like 7 agents.
Oh wow.
And they said cases at that time were starting to pile up. So they were like, okay, we don't know who can go down. And John was just like, I'll just go. I'll just go. I know I'm like the director, whatever. I'll just go down, see if I can help them out. So he flew down to South Carolina, and it is so funny because he grew up like New England states and then he lived in Virginia, and he went, I have never ate such amazing food. He said, there was always food. He said, whether you were with the Smith family or with the Hemlock family, he said, they were always trying to feed me. And he said, to the point where I was like, I'm good. And then he said he was even at one point, the chief of police took him out to breakfast.
That's how Southerners show love.
Yeah. And they took him out to breakfast, and he was like, do you eat like this every morning? And they were like, yeah, this is just your standard breakfast. He was like, I'm used to a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
And he said this is like a full course meal. Which I was like, oh, that's it?
Yeah, they be doing it small up there.
Like little birds.
Biscuits and gravy. What?
Yeah.
I mean,
So I did think that was kind of funny that he thought that was so odd he had to put it in the book. I was just like,
yeah,
that just brings
that
up
is-
character. But he did a profile. He listened. He talked to Dawn. He talked to Hilda because they had the most interaction. He viewed the case, and this is what he came up with. So this is just nuts to me how they could just make up this profile from a little bit of evidence and a little bit of interaction, and then they just use psychology and pattern recognition just to.
It's amazing.
The murderer would most likely be a white male in his 30s or possibly in his early 40s. He has a failed marriage and a history of sex crimes on his record. He's a blue-collared worker, most likely an electronic worker, telephone worker, or even an electrician, because he used devices and knows how to take apart telephones.
Oh.
Which is so weird
Okay.
to me. So that's his profile. I don't know how they guess your age.
The age one is very, yeah. Or your, I mean, sometimes I could see where your, like, race is.
Yeah.
Like, how they could tell your race, but sometimes how?
They say,
Other than, like, the way we think, maybe?
they
Like,
say statistically, murderers don't normally go outside their race.
Oh.
You think of, like, all the Ted Bundy, they're all white women. They have, like, unless they could tell if it's, like,
Like it's a racist.
racially
Yeah,
motivated.
It's racially motivated. Okay.
But then they said that they could follow that, like, under the intensity of the murder. Sometimes they could
Right.
tell
Whether
if it's
a
racially.
crime of passion,
Yeah.
crime of.
So after Sherry's funeral, or like the day of Sherry's funeral, phone calls kind of started picking up again. And this time, he's not using a device to disguise his voice.
Oh.
And John thinks he's starting to get comfortable,
Yeah.
which a lot of serial killers do after they, like, do a few things that they're like,
feel like they've gotten away with it.
well,
kind of
they're
thing.
never going to
Yeah.
catch me. I don't need this thing. Or they get really sloppy. And that's how they always get caught. Kind of like, it makes me think of the whole reason why they caught Ted Bundy is simply just because he had a broken taillight.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. It had nothing to do with the cases. But because of regular stops,
Yeah.
and then the cop just knew, and this man looks familiar, they caught him. And I want to say they did something like that with the co-ed killer. Like, he got stopped for speeding or something, and the cop just recognized him. It was just like, I need you to step out of the car.
Could you imagine?
I would freak it. This is why I'm not a
I
cop.
could never be a cop.
Could never.
Never, because I'd be like, I know who you are.
Be like, you look familiar. What's your name? Your name says this. I don't think that's her name, sir.
Yeah.
You would try that again? So the cops were able to, I can't remember exactly in detail how. You'll just have to go read the book or listen to it. I listened to it. It was kind of like struck me as like a podcast, but for 12 hours, which is nice. Um, so they were able to trace one of the phone numbers, which kept popping up,
Oh.
and
He's
it
using the same payphone.
he's using, that's what they were thinking, but it traced to a house.
Oh?
To a house. Now, here's where I would just die. I would just be like, I'm sorry, what? They trace it to a South Carolina couple named Ellis and Sharon Shepherd. Now, these were little elderly people,
That's what I was thinking.
and you're like, oh, must be Ellis. Oh, yep, he looks like he'd be a killer. No, they said they were the sweetest elderly couple
Was he
ever.
like breaking into their house?
So,
Because that's where my brain went.
the Shepherds actually had proof they were out of town for both abductions. John thought it was best to allow the Shepherds to see a sketch of. Okay.
Was he a house sitter?
He was a house sitter. They saw the sketch and listened to the recordings of the voice without the voice recorder or the voice
Yeah, the
scrambler.
scrambler.
And they were like, we know who that is. He house sits for us. His name is Larry Gene Bell. Larry Gene Bell was in his early 30s. He had a failed marriage.
Stop.
He had an attempt of rape, assault, and battery. And he worked as an electrician. So their profile was
like spot on.
Spot on. And they said this case actually kind of really proved to not only the police but to the FBI that, hey,
This is a big thing.
this is a real thing. We're not just over here
wasting
some weird
time.
quacks just sitting over here going, I'd just like to interview serial killers. Like, no, it's a scientific based thing. It's real. It happens. They started talking to John and they were like, we noticed when Larry picked us up from the airport after Sherry's disappearance, they said he would not even like shut up about it. That's all he could talk about while you guys were gone. This girl, this 17-year-old girl, Sherry Smith, went missing. Oh, and the police are just like, oh, they can't figure out who it is, and blah, 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 blah. And they said they were to the point where days later,
He was still talking.
he was still talking about it. Like when he would come over and do like handyman stuff, they would pay him cash to do like just handyman stuff. It took him a while to find Bill because he kind of started like moving around.
Oh.
And they actually, I think they found him in, I want to say Alabama. Don't quote me on that. I can't remember for a fact. But once they did find him, dude was trying to pull the insanity case. So obviously they had, you know, his voice on record. And then I think they were able to pull some like fingerprints off of some duct tape or something that was used to bind Sherry's arms. So they had some DNA and then they had his voice. So they were, of course, he's guilty.
Yeah.
But we still got to take it to court, I guess.
Yeah.
At trial, the Smith family was there. And, and this trials take years sometimes. Like, in my brain, it's like, oh, only a few weeks.
Yeah.
No, it takes years. So Dawn and their little brother, are a little bit older now. The parents are a little bit older now. And they kept saying Larry just would stare at Dawn enough to the point where it kind of got to where the little brother, and I'm so sorry, his name escapes me. The little brother or her dad would like sit and position themselves where he couldn't stare at Dawn. And they said the little brother was so uncomfortable with it where he was just like, he better stop freaking staring. I swear. He's like, I'm gonna lose my shit. Like
That would be so
he's
uncomfortable.
like, he's already taken one sister. He needs to stop staring at my
Yeah.
other. That would 100% be Eric. He'd be like,
Yeah. That would. Oh.
I'm a mean mug right back, dude. Hilda almost couldn't go to some of it because she was just absolutely distraught. But her closing statement to him was, "This is awful. I forgive you, and I hope the Lord has mercy on you." Because
Oh.
that's what Sherry would have wanted us to do. Not me!
Oh, that would. You know how hard that would be to
You know,
say?
that's real Christianity.
Yes.
I'd fail. I'd fail.
Oh.
I'd fail with flying colors. I'd be like, I hope you live to be like 150 and you suffer every day. And they'd be like, okay, let's tone that down some.
we're gonna put her on a watch list.
Himlicks were the same way. They had their own case because the two cases were similar, but they weren't close enough together to like, so they tried him for two different cases.
Did they find the little girl too? Like,
Yeah.
did he lead them to her
Yeah,
as
he
well?
told Dawn
Okay.
where when he got to talking about it one time, he told Dawn where she was.
Oh,
He
okay.
was like, she might be over here in this field, but that's just where I would bury a body. I mean, like, he would be so,
Real smooth there, sir.
yeah, he would be so backwards with his words, they would be able to figure out, okay,
Yeah.
that's where he buried her. Um, even though he's trying not to incriminate himself.
Right.
His lawyer did try to say he had schizophrenia and that he thought the girls were someone else. I don't know. His lawyer was trying, but thankfully he
Here's
failed.
why I could never be a defense lawyer.
I could not either.
Because you know you just up there and you're looking like an idiot.
Especially with some of them that
Like when it's so extreme like that.
like you know,
Like, you're like, "Well, dude, you didn't give me anything to go on. I gotta go up here and look like an idiot
also
trying to defend you."
he kept shouting obscene things while on trial. One was that him and Sherry were destined lovers and that they were gonna get married.
What?
That's what God told him. And he tried bringing faith into it, and the family was just like, no, you're not doing this. And what was another thing was, oh, now that Sherry was dead, he was supposed to marry Dawn. Like, and then
Oh,
yeah,
no.
he just kept digging deeper. I mean, it was awful. And they said he was pretty silent in Deborah May's trial, but they think that's because of her age. And if you look at Deborah May and Sherry Smith, they look like they're the same person, just a few years difference.
I was just gonna say,
Yeah.
what was the.
It
But
was
if.
it was the
Okay.
blonde hair and the blue eyes. It was something about that just
What he went for.
and that's exactly what Dawn looked like too. They think that if he had kept going, it would have been like a lot more, but luckily they were able to stop him at just two. Sadly, there was two.
Right.
Instead of truly convicting him at his assault and battery trial and also getting him help he needed, because that was just a woman he was just acquaintances with.
Right. Oh, gosh.
And so,
So did he get off on that?
yeah, he only did like a few years or something. It was not many.
To being his ex-wife.
I think about that all the time.
Lord.
I'm like, to be an ex-wife to a serial killer?
Be like, oh.
Like, even if you divorce them and then they went on to be a serial killer
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's still like, I slept next to that.
for years.
Someone that was capable of doing that.
It freaks me out. There's actually some people that write books because of that.
It really does.
Like the lady that dated Ted Bundy. And
Yes.
every single girl he killed looked just like her. And she was like, I don't understand why not me? But I'm glad. But
Right.
what made me so different?
Yeah, why was she spared?
And then everybody else, yeah. Anyway, so Larry Gene Bell, in his flair for death, I guess, requested to have the electric chair and not lethal injection.
Oh. Okay.
Weirdo. And they were like, "You do know what happens to your body after the electric chair, right?" And he was like, "Yeah, it's fine." To me, that would just like totally just seal the deal. I'd be like, "This man is not well in any terms."
Yep.
I mean, that's what he requested. That's how he wanted it done. So that's what we'll do.
Ugh.
Um, John explained that there are two ways families deal with murder and abductions, and that is either they draw in closer together, like the Smith family, or sadly, they completely fall apart, like the Himlick family.
Uh,
The mother couldn't deal with, she sadly blamed her husband for Deborah not being watched
oh.
and being taken. So they divorced and she took the children with him, but they said that he stayed close to the kids, but they said he was unwell after Deborah because he did blame himself too. So
Yeah.
they said that's the two ways that family kind of deal with that. And he said the Smith family, he said, was just better people than him because they literally forgave Belle
Yeah.
and then moved on with their lives. I can't remember what they started something in the name of Sherry,
Like a
like a
foundation.
foundation. I can't remember what it was for. And then Dawn went on, she graduated college, and then she even went on and started doing pageants and became Miss South Carolina. And as a part of that, she used her story to make people aware of, hey, this could happen to you or your daughter of any age.
Yeah.
It's not just littles, and we need to be a little bit more aware. And so she kind of like advocated for people who, the whole group of, that'll never happen to me.
Right.
Because she said we were always that family.
Yeah.
But that is the case of Sherry Smith and Tebra May Himlick.
Wow.
Sad, true case. Didn't mean to bring you guys down.
And I wonder, okay, so now I'm thinking, okay,
Okay.
so not only did the Smith family have their Christian base, but also she was a lot older.
Yeah.
So it made sense nobody was like watching her. And I wonder if that's the reason the Himlicks went the other way. Because 9-year-old, yeah, okay. I mean, like, I let Raylan go and kick his soccer ball
Yeah.
outside. He's 10. And I mean, I just peek on him every once in a while.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like, I wonder if that's the reason they went that route with the
Yeah.
coping and the other ones went
Oh no, that could be.
because, I mean, you can't watch a 17-year-old at all times.
No, especially not one that's
I mean, she's
driving.
driving.
Yeah.
She literally was driving home and checking the mail. Like, there was nothing they could have done for that.
And they
But,
think,
like, the 9-year-old, they can, like, mom can blame dad, dad blames himself. Like, it's easier to unravel when they're that age.
even that Belle would kind of like stalk his victims for a little while.
I would think so because, like, how do you find someone that looks so
Yeah.
much like the first one,
And just
just
keep
younger?
going.
And I mean, like, how would you get lucky and
And
like
that's
you're not? You would know she lived there.
so they're thinking that maybe he spotted Sherry one day when he was working out there as an electrician, just out on their road, and spotted her getting out checking the mail. And then he spotted her again when she was at the pharmacy, and then was just like, just,
Gotta have her.
I'm gonna follow her home and just take her. Which just, I guess some people's train of thoughts just go that way, sadly.
I know,
Because
like,
it's like, I'd just be like, oh, hey, that person looks familiar. Anyway,
oh, yeah, he might have took it as like a sign.
yeah, like, there she is again. Just, she's so pretty. And they were all so pretty. They were all just, it was something about just the blonde hair and the blue eyes. They just get stuck on the way a woman looks.
They get stuck on one look.
And then just
Oh,
go for it.
so weird
Weird,
and wild.
disturbing. But Yeah, it was a pretty interesting book because normally when you hear case, first of all, they're fiction.
Yeah.
You don't hear normally, or you hear it retold or something. You don't hear it from the actual agent or
Yeah.
detective.
Yeah.
Or you'll have an author that's like, oh, I like to do these cases and do books that are similar to these cases. The majority of the book was strictly about Sherry and Deborah. So, and I feel like a lot of books go, and then the guy did this, and then the killer did that, killer did this, killer did. I don't care. Like, I want to know about the case, but I don't want to know about him in particular. And it didn't get into his part of why he was the way he was until like 2/3 of the book in. But before that, it was all about what happened to Sherry and Deborah, how he figured out how to profile them, and then it was like tracing the call and then finding him, and then you found out who the killer was. It was not one of those, let's talk about the killer,
Yeah.
and then they killed these two people. It was reversed.
Them as like an afterthought. Yeah.
Yeah,
I see what you're saying. They do kind of sometimes go that route.
where they almost
Because I think like it's not even like on purpose.
no,
I think it's us as humans just get tied up on
the killers.
the killer of like why were they like this?
Yeah,
And you just kind of get stuck on that.
which I do too. I will say openly, admittedly, like one of my first podcasts I ever listened to was literally called Serial Killers, and that's all they did was sit and talk about um she was studying psychology and he was just interested in it. And they would just sit and talk about how they grew up, what was their family like, if that affected them when they got older, or,
Yeah, it's
and then they'd be like, they would say the names and ages of people they killed, but it was so towards the end
right.
that sometimes I can't even remember what people
What
were
they
linked to
actually
what
did.
case.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like we need to almost name the cases after the victims instead of like the co-ed killer. Okay. But at the same time, other than co-eds, like who did he kill? Like what are their names? Can't think of their names. But you know his name is Ed Kemper.
Yeah.
The multi-state killer, that's Ted Bundy. Who did he kill? I don't know, but they all had brown hair. They were all in their early
It's
20s.
a deep thought.
Deep thought. Lead balloon. Didn't mean for this to be so down and depressing.
I mean, killer reads are kind of hard to not be,
I
especially
know.
when they're true. The
And yeah.
truth, like, cause like I can't cut up and make jokes about this. This is real. This is real people's
This is
lives.
real.
Like now, if it was a fake one, I could still kind of
Be like, oh yeah,
be
that's
like
normal.
my bubbly self, like, cause it's fake. These aren't real people, but those are real people, man.
Yeah.
So I mean, part of October Killer Reads. It's just part of the thing, I guess.
This one's a little deep. We
This
don't want
isn't
to
a
make
very
fun of this.
laughing matter.
No.
I don't want to disrespect those families.
I just thought to do murder reads just to kind of switch it up some for Halloween in October. I don't know why murder's always linked to Halloween. I guess because of scary books, like everybody's scared of death.
Well,
So that's today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it.
yeah, like how do you say that? Hope you found it interesting.
Hope you found this.
Yeah.
Nope. Can't.
Educational?
Yeah.
Educational.
Hope maybe you're inspired to go read the book. Have a fabulous Tuesday, a fantastic week. Be safe out there. And we will see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.